Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Israel Adesanya shares which country he believes will be dominating the UFC in years to come. Moving on, Joe Rogan makes the case for a Kamaru Usman title shot versus Belal Muhammad. Lastly, Ilia Topuria says Max Holloway, featherweights need a motorcycle helmet to survive his power. Israel Adesanya has given his thoughts on what country he believes will be dominating the UFC in the years ahead. Throughout the course of his mixed martial arts career, Israel Adesanya has had his finger on the pulse. While he may not be champion right now, he's still such a towering figure in the sport. From his past success to questions surrounding his future, his fan base are always eager to know what he thinks. This weekend, the Ultimate Fighting Championship heads to the Sphere in Las Vegas. It's where UFC 306, also known as Noche UFC, will take place. The plan is for there to be a celebration of Mexican fighters and culture, with the Sphere telling a story throughout the evening. As it turns out, Adesanya believes Mexico could have a huge role to play in the continued growth of MMA in the years to come. Here is what he said. That from boxing, a lot of kids who would have maybe gone into boxing would start doing MMA and not just doing kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, like MMA as a whole, and then it's going to be, in a few generations, you'll see like a wave of Mexican fighters who have that Mexican spirit. You'll see them like just dominating the UFC. Could be, who knows how many generations, but kind of is already happening slowly. I like seeing Mexicans, like I think even with this card, it's going to bring that spirit. I think you're going to see some crazy fights, some really crazy fights, just because the essence of Mexican fighting. Joe Rogan believes former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman should get a title shot despite a 3-fight losing skid inside the octagon. Belal Muhammad defeated Leon Edwards for the UFC welterweight belt earlier this year at UFC 304. Muhammad, after earning the title, is plotting his return to make his first title defense as a UFC champion. Undefeated contender Shavkat Rakhmonov is the favorite to face Muhammad at a later date, but Usman is also in the mix after the two sides went back and forth on social media in recent weeks. Rogan believes that despite Rakhmonov's case for the title shot, the UFC should capitalize on Usman's short career window and book him for the belt. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan endorsed Usman for the next UFC welterweight title shot. Here is what he said. I think they give him Kamaru Usman. That's the big money fight. It's the smart fight. They owe Kamaru for Kamaru taking Khamzat Chimaev on 10 days notice. And also, a 3-rounder instead of a 5-rounder when he won the third. It looked to me like he was coming on in the third. He had to figure him out, and also he had to trust his gas tank. The guy trained 10 days for one of the scariest on earth. I say you gotta give it to Kamaru because I think Kamaru earned it from that alone. You don't have many more years of Kamaru now, he's like 37. I say give him another shot. Shavkat Rakhmonov. With every win, he's a legend. Bigger and bigger legend. Usman's last win was against Colby Covington at UFC 268. After the unanimous decision win, he lost back-to-back title fights to Leon Edwards, including a vicious head kick knockout at UFC 278. UFC featherweight champion Ilia Topuria believes his upcoming opponents, including Max Holloway, need extra protection to deal with his power. Topuria will make his first featherweight title defense at UFC 308 against Holloway. He returns to the octagon after finishing Alexander Volkanovski for the belt at UFC 298 in February. Topuria, after winning the UFC title, has supreme confidence in his abilities. He'll face a tough test against the former champion Holloway, who is riding high after his UFC 300 knockout. Holloway has never been knocked out during his legendary MMA career. In addition to defending the belt, Topuria wants to change that narrative at UFC 308. Topuria gave a glowing update on his UFC 308 preparation at a recent press conference. Here is what he said. Better than ever. I really wouldn't want to be in someone else's shoes, believe me. I've prepared very, very hard. I'm at that point where I think that right now in my weight class, a good motorcycle helmet is needed, because if not, there is no solution. Ilia will face a tough challenge in Holloway, who is looking to reclaim the UFC featherweight title. Since 3 losses to Volkanovski, Holloway has earned featherweight wins over Arnold Allen and the Korean Zombie. Ilia has the opportunity to prove himself right at UFC 308. In the meantime, Holloway should prepare for a fired-up Topuria, with a point to prove in Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.